This is take two because the previous one we have technical difficulty. And same here, this is still a one-way discussion. She cannot hear us, but we can hear her, so it's okay. So we will have to continue. Okay, so once again, I'd like to say good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our participants and listeners on this sixth session of our e-talk. And this sixth session is entitled EDC Technologies and Opportunities to be given to one of the important persons of EDC. And in behalf of our project leader, SUTBI project leader, Dr. Dave Marshall, and our TBI manager, Professor Janice Forster, I would like to welcome everyone to please to be with us and to stay with us until the end of this session. And we will be allotting a few minutes after the talk of our guest speaker related to whatever questions or clarifications you may have pertaining to the presentation that she will present to us this afternoon. And okay, so I would like to introduce her again. I would like to introduce our speaker again. Our speaker is the head of EDC's Negros and Mount Apo Corporate Social Responsibility Department. She started her career as a science research assistant working on coastal resource management in Visayas State University in Leyte. She is a marine biologist for 8 years now, and then she became aquatic ecologist for 3 years before she headed the CSR department. So she was a marine biologist and also an aquatic ecologist. She has 15 years experience in CSR and is already with EDC for 21 years. By the way, EDC is the former PNOC, okay, or the Philippine National Oil Company. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Fisheries from the Mindanao State University in 1993 and trained in Environmental Management in the University of Auckland, New Zealand. She is an advanced open water diver and a certified crisis communication planner by the International Consortium for Organizational Resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants and listeners of this sixth session, I would like to welcome Ms. Norreen Bautista, the head of EDC CSR or Corporate Social Responsibility. Ma'am Norreen, take the floor now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Norreen Bautista. I am the head of the Negros and Mount Apo CSR from Energy Development Corporation. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thanks, Janice, for inviting me in this event. This is really a privilege for us, EDC, to share also our EDC technologies and opportunities. I'll be focusing my lecture or my talk about on CSR or corporate social responsibility. My presentation, the outline of my presentation will be a series of questions such as who are we? Why do we choose renewable energy? What is geothermal 24/7? What do we do in CSR? Because we are still affected by this unseen COVID-19, I think it's best that we answer also how EDC cope with this pandemic period, in this pandemic period. Who are we? So we are actually Energy Development Corporation. Our company is part of the Lopez Group of Companies. It is a Filipino conglomerate with substantial holding. EDC actually believes that business, next to the government, has a pivotal role in protecting our planet from effects of climate change and ensuring sustainable future for you, our youth today, as well as for future generations. We are the world's largest integrated geothermal producer and the country's leading renewable energy company. So you may ask, what is vertically integrated? It is just actually a, a type of business wherein the operating the steam field up to the power plant. We do that. Other companies do not do that. No, they always either run the power plant or just steam. But in the case of EDC, we do both. So that's why we are the largest vertically integrated geothermal company. As of December 2019, we have a total installed capacity of 1,486.15 megawatts. That actually accounts for over 20% of the total RE installed capacity in the country. Our over 9,000 gigawatt hours generated power as of December 2019 accounts for over 42%, meaning that's 100% over what we installed in the total generated RE. Our business cuts across within the renewable energy space, like geothermal. We also have wind, we have hydro, and solar. So why RE? I would ask, and I will answer, why not? Imagine a limitless energy source, reliable power you can count on 24/7. It's affordable, it's sustainable, clean energy at your disposal. It's actually the future of renewable energy. And a cleaner, greener future is well within our reach. So most countries, including the Philippines, have not actually developed enough of it yet. I have researched on the low carbon power companies or countries around the globe. Would you know that Philippines is the 71st? Because 22% of the electricity generated in the Philippines is low carbon energy, meaning there's still 73 or 78% that is not low carbon. So it is the best that we can do to transition to RE and to adopt low carbon technologies and practices. We are so happy that our commitment to renewable energy has been recognized here and abroad. EDC has been on the Carbon Clean 200 lists in 2016, it's also in 2017, and also 2018. What is this list? A list is actually a list of largest publicly listed or traded companies that lead the way with solutions for the transition to a clean energy future. Incidentally, EDC and our mother company, which is really the first gen corporation, made it to the list. And mind you, we are the only Philippine companies in that list, and we should be very proud of it. So this is just the map showing the whole portfolio of our power plants and renewable energy facilities located from Luzon to Mindanao. And then in Ilocos Norte, up north there, where our wind and solar projects are located, and then up to the right is that in Nueva Ecija, we have our hydro plant there. And then in Iloilo, somewhere in Visayas, we have our solar project. For geothermal, we have project sites in Bicol. Then we have also in Leyte, we have here in Negros, and then in Mindanao North, Cotabato. And then totaling of which, the total overall generated capacity that we have is 1,486.15 megawatts, and geothermal being the highest of them all. So this is just to show you the picture of the video of our Burgos wind farm in in Ilocos Norte. It's 150 megawatts. It's the largest in the country, and in fact, also the largest in Southeast Asia. See? So I'm not sure if all of you have been, some of you have been there. This one is, it's actually the solar project we have in Burgos. But you know what? In Burgos Island, in Burgos land, we have 600 hectares, and a portion of it is actually vacant. What we did was that we took the opportunity of developing that into a solar project. So we developed about 6 megawatts for this one on top of the wind project that we have, and we have also in Iloilo. This one is one of my favorites. It's a picturesque of a beautiful hydro power plant in Nueva Ecija. It's actually, we have 132 megawatts hydro power plants. And then this multipurpose hydro complex also supplies irrigation water for the vast rice fields of Nueva Ecija. This one, with geothermal energy, comprise 61% of our country's total geothermal capacity. This picture in front of you is actually the picture of Palimpinon 1 in Southern Negros geothermal project in Valencia, Negros Oriental. Can you show some hands if some of you or most of you have been there? If not, then maybe after the COVID-free, we can go there and visit the power plant. So what is geothermal energy? So geothermal energy, in simple words, it's just actually from the root word geo, meaning earth, and then thermos, meaning heat. So it's just an energy made by heat inside the earth's crust. So when used to generate electricity, geothermal power plants typically offer constant output. So how does geothermal energy work? So it can be likened, or it's like a pot analogy. So the geothermal system found under the earth works like a covered pot filled with water on top of a stove. As you can see here, there's a pot. So once the water begins to boil, it produces steam. That's simple. So you can see the pot, smiling pot there. So I'll be showing a video clip on how we harness the geothermal process of geothermal power, but I think I would need the help of Renzo to help me play the video for us. Renzo. Thank you, Renzo. So let me share my screen. Just give me a few seconds. So thank you, Renzo, for the video. I think you find it very simple, but actually it's not simple when we do the ZDS. So here is the zero discharge system. The EDC pioneered this technology. The GDS technology allows us EDC to recharge the geothermal reservoir by injecting back to the brine through the injection wells. We start with, please be guided with the numbers so that you will know. So the first one is that hot water is harnessed from deep underground through a high pressure well. And then second, when the water reaches the surface, the pressure drops, which causes the water to turn into steam. So mag-steam na siya. And then in the number 3, the steam spins a turbine, which is now connected to a generator that produces the electricity. And then on the number 4, the steam cools off in a cooling tower, as you can see here, condenses back to water. And then number 5, extreme right, is that the cooled water is pumped back into the earth to begin the process again. So through this process, the business is protected because it's able to extend the geothermal life cycle through prudent management of the geothermal resource. In the case of EDC, we're over 40 years already in operation. The general lifespan of a geothermal is only 25 years, but we reached 40 years old. So I'm younger than EDC, just kidding. So at the same time, the environment is protected by preventing contamination or spillage in the surface as a subsurface. Okay, so and then this is also how EDC manages the geothermal water in order to protect the environment and as well as complying the Clean Water Act. Okay, so this one is that geothermal is known as the holy grail of renewable energy technologies. Why? Because its unique ability to provide baseload power. And you will ask, what is this baseload power? Baseload is actually just available 24/7. It means that it has the capacity to supply 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's clean, it's uninterrupted power, making it reliable energy source. Then that can keep the businesses running, and it helps support basic services to benefit every Filipino and, of course, sustainably boost our country's growth. So Geo 24/7 is coined under EDC. It's an information drive so that it will tell us that EDC is the geothermal leader, and it's about how geo or geothermal powers infinite possibilities. So what do we do in CSR? So I think my fourth phase of my presentation. So first is that what is really CSR? So for those who do not know, a CSR is just corporate social responsibility. It is actually a self-regulating business model that helps the company be socially accountable in terms either itself, its stakeholders, and the public. And then by practicing the CSR, also called others, actually CSR can be called by others like corporate citizenships, others would say community partnerships. So there are a lot of names, but actually they mean the same. So what is important is that the companies can be conscious of the kind of impact they are doing in the aspects of society, including in terms of economy, socially, how are you impacting to the social environment and also in general the environment. So that's what CSR is all about. So let me share to all of you that our CSR has actually evolved over time. As early as 1980s, we already have our corporate social responsibility. But this one, as you can see, there are 3 phases that I'm presenting here. In 1980s, there were like community relations, we have extension services, then we have watershed management. Mind you, all of this are actually run by different groups. So medyo ano siya. And then the objective of doing the CSR is purely philanthropic, or meaning charitable way, or sort of a dole out. But sometime in 2005 and then 2018 range, we fused the two and then made it into watershed management and CSR. But still, these are run by 2 groups, so not synchronized. But the program, what I really like here is that the program that we're using for the CSR is now responsive. In fact, some of you might really met our banner programs before. It is called Helen. So the Helen CSR that we have, it meant health, education, livelihood, and environment. But in 2019, we had to shift and transform ourselves into a more strategic in nature. We called our program like input a concept of shared value and inclusive growth, because it has become ingrained in the EDC CSR programs. Strategic as we continuously push for the sustainable business model that aligns with the pressing environmental and social needs of our communities. So that's how we evolve our CSR. Now I will show you later on what is the framework. So the new framework that we have for CSR is now anchored on the concept of shared value, which means that EDC shares the risks and opportunities with our communities. This means that as a company, we do CSR to maximize social and business value. Social value in terms of improving the lives of the community where we operate, and then business value is that in terms of sustaining the business as well. So they go hand in hand. So it becomes strategic and shared value. So this one is just a circle, but there are 3 pillars under this new framework that we have, and let me discuss this one by one. So the first pillar is that business excellence. What is business excellence? We actually ensure efficiency and effectiveness of our programs through strategic partnerships that allow us to make a difference in sustainable manner while meeting our objectives. It's just purely partnerships. And then the next pillar that we have is the responsible business practice. So the responsible business operations, we ensure compliance with all the regulatory requirements. Of course, we have to align whatever government priorities they have. So we have to, as a private institution, we have to abide with that one. And then most of all is that we also have to look at continue to check our reputation and continue as a clean and green company. We cannot just walk the talk. And then the last pillar that we have is the so-called strategic social investment. We ensure that our investments in social programs allow us to achieve our objectives, meaning we have to have a meaningful impacts to our society and our host communities. This is just a whole map that I'm showing to you that in the whole Philippines where we're operating, we have a total of 125 partner beneficiary barangays. And you trickle down to Negros Island, we have 24 partner barangays who are beneficiary of our CSR. So as I've mentioned a while ago that our framework has actually changed, our CSR flagship programs are now in 2 phases, 2 types. One is that 2 kinds, the SICAT, and the BINI. Actually, it's education. We have identified education and environment as the new flagship programs as the strategic focus of our CSR. So, education or SICAT, because of the long-term impact to the lives of the community members. And then environment, and the term or the brand name is called BINI because it supports the business in terms of sustaining the geothermal recharge. We have to comply with the regulatory requirements and, of course, enhancing the clean and green brand. So you will ask, why sikat? I think it's a vernacular term, di ba? Pag sikat is famous. So we coined our banner program for CSR as sikat, which means distinguished, prominent, and well-known in the vernacular. So, but actually the objective of this one is just that for the communities to have access to quality education that would enable them to become productive citizens and change makers of the society. While Binhi, on the other hand, which is the environment, aims to restore denuded forest, we preserve and propagate our threatened native tree species, and protect biodiversity. So that's about that. So what have we accomplished so far? So this is just to show you that our education or SICAT is aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 4. So meaning SDG 1 is no poverty, and then SDG 4 is the quality education. So we have in our 2019 accomplishments in Negros alone, Negros Island, there were a total of 609 junior, senior high school and college scholars that we have. And then we have 41 college scholars who graduated, and 100% of them are actually employed. And then we have 13 partner schools who are availing our programs. And then in the elementary portion or bucket, 8,500 elementary pupils are beneficiaries of like school supplies, miscellaneous fees, stuff like that. So SICAT has exemplary scholars who graduated with honors. There are a lot of honor students in our graduates, but we wanted to just showcase this, that the highest honors that our scholars got is the magna cum laude. Two of them hailed from our host community in Valencia, and that's Isabel Galera and also Thea. And Silliman University should be proud of her because she's also from Silliman University, right? So, okay. So, the next slide is that, okay, so these are the SICAT partners that we have. There is no better way of solving a problem if you're alone. So, meaning partnership is very important in doing our CSR programs or education. We cannot propel without our partners. So just to mention a few of our partners, we have DepEd, we have National Bookstore. They're the ones who provided school supplies to our children. Boysen, we also partner with them. You know, they provide paints during Brigada Escuela. Of course, our dear LGUs continues a partnership. And then we also have TESDA because we have vocational technology courses. And of course, the magic for universities that we have. So we have Silliman University for the, how do you call this one? Professorial chair that we have. And then we have St. Paul University for the scholarship. And then Foundation University for the VocTech and scholarship. And also the NORSU. Okay? So let's go to Binhi because we're done with the education. Now we're going to the environment. So since the launch in 2008, EDC Binhi, we've actually planted about 4.04 million seedlings here in Negros. It's all indigenous forest trees and fruit-bearing tree species planted. And then a total of 5,704 hectares already of the areas that we covered. There were 21 Binhi Farmers Association. We cannot do it without them. So, like I said, partnership is always the key. And then the infamous, the first and the biggest private-led forest restoration movement in one island here in Negros is really to plant, grow, and protect 10 million trees in 10 years. And that is 10M and 10. And in fact, the first 1 million seedling was planted in Silliman University ground. So as of this year, we're on the 4th year. Actually, this one is that we have 7.7 million planted. We're way above our target. We're supposed to have 4 million, but we surpassed. And then we have 156 partners organization. Okay, so similar to the education that we have, we cannot function well. We cannot finish our CSR without partners. So there are a lot of here, as you can see, a lot of logos, meaning there are the partners that we have in accomplishing our need. So we have CFI, and then we have CCI, we have National Geographic, so on, and then we have the universities, the academe, also, and then the Farmers Association. And here, this is also very overwhelming because in 10M and 10, we have a total of 156 partners and categorized into government agencies. We have local government units here. Then the academe, medyo madami. And then we have clubs, non-profit organization, POs. And then we have also individuals, then businesses and media. But we're not stopping here. We continue to invite partners who really who wants to join with us. So if you want to join, 10 and 10 is actually just here in Negros. You can call me or call any from EDC. Okay, so since the title of my talk is about EDC technologies and opportunities, so making use of modern technologies have actually helped us deliver our CSR programs to the community stakeholders, even prior to the COVID crisis. Some of this, but not all, but just to give you a hint what we're doing and what were the digital apps we're using. So one is the Lawin application. It is actually an integrated science-based assessment in monitoring the status of our forest. It helps record data for biodiversity monitoring and forest patrolling. And then the second one is like at the center here, it's automated water sprinkler. So we have an automated, an EDC, we have an automated nursery. And then this one is that we utilize that where you can actually set the watering time. So it drips at a given time. So it's easier and it's faster and it's uniform. And then the third app that we have is digital, is the Biome one. And this is actually used in monitoring our biodiversity information real time and coordinate stuff like that. And then we also use ArcGIS. I think all of you or most of you can know this. So ArcGIS is just a cloud-based mapping, analysis, and data storage system to manage our maps. And then we have Akubo. It's just a web-based database. So since like in the case of Tenement 10, there are a lot of lists of stakeholders that we need to track. So that's why to organize them all, we use Akubo database. And then, of course, the infamous drone. So, drone is very important also, not just for weddings or prenuptials. We also use that in our forest patrol monitoring. And then the social media. Everybody knows that. But for us, it's a powerful tool to communicate and to send a message. It's just purely IEC or information education campaign tool. Okay, so disruption. It's a big word. So I was actually asked by Janice to cite some issues we encountered in EDC. But since COVID pandemic hits the whole locality, I would say it's like globally and locality, combine them is locality. I chose this COVID as a disruption. No one really know how foreseeing the extent of the COVID-19, right? So business has been disrupted and will not necessarily go back to normal. Instead, the current disruption has changed and continuously change the business landscape that we have right now. So how can a business leaders or how can a business react? To the challenges, how we need to reassess what we do, we need to reconfigure how to do it, and then we need to reinvent ourselves to adapt to the disruption. We cannot just hide and then just hide all the time because like you can observe the economy is about to collapse because we keep on hiding. Someone has to look at the economic side of it. Okay, so when crisis first hit, companies need to react to immediate challenges and threats. So at this point, it's very important that we should not lose sight of doing the right thing. So in the case of EDC, we remain true to our vision. We were empathetic to the needs of the stakeholders. We had to be very quick in deciding things. So how did EDC thrive amid this pandemic? So we had this principle that we got from the national NIOSH, you call it, was the history, the hierarchy of control. So as you can see, it's inverted V. So there's this elimination, substitution. Beside it is that how did we do it? So I think most of you can also relate. So elimination of control is really like work from home. In EDC, we are very heavy on work from home. We are not allowed to go out except for the technical group or essential groups who are assigned to run the plan. Substitution in the sense that we do face-to-face before, right? We do meetings, but like in our case, CSR, it cannot be helped that we need to talk to a lot of people. But as a substitution, we do teleconferencing, virtual meetings. And then engineering controls, barriers. So we have we call it shelter in place engineers who are there in the power plant just running the whole plant to keep the business alive. And then also physical distancing. So alam niyo na yan. So physical distancing, alam niyo. And then also can you just imagine this? The lowest tip of it is just the mast. So that's something that to think of and for you to contemplate. Okay, so this one is that we have in our community assistance during pandemic, a total of almost 25 households benefited across the site. But what we're trying to emphasize is that there's first wave, there's second wave, and there's third wave. It's actually, when we do our assistance, it was purposive, meaning we had to categorize it in a different ways. So during the onset of that COVID, we had to deal with it right away. What's really the needed items of the people? So we had to give the PPEs, diba? And then we had to do alcohol. We had to do how do you call this one? Thermal scanner. Just to attend to the people like the ones manning the checkpoint. And then the second wave, and then also we did not give so much rice subsidy at the time because there was a lot of amelioration. So the second wave is that since the people ran out already of their supplies, that's the time we did a rice massive subsidy given to our host community. And then the third wave is that we had also this equipment donation of PCR testing laboratories. We have an ongoing discussion with a partner LGUs, partner hospitals. So these are just the photos, just to let you know how we did it. So we have thermal scanners, we have PPEs, and by the way, like the center, it's too small, but this is Mayor Goma. Diba? Gwapo ang mayor sa Ormo. Gwapo mo po lang ito ang Valencia mayor. But, and then we also have medicine, backpacks, sprayers, and like that. That's the first way. And then these are the container vans. We also lend it to our partner hospitals to serve as an extension of isolation center. Others service as parang resting area nila. And another one is that the rice assistance here. It's all over the country. So this one, I was beside the mayor. We gave 1,000 sacks of rice. And then on top of this one, we also not just giving to the community, but I said it's purposive. We look for communities we think we can engage, help us, and so that they can also have income. So we tap the Limao Farmers Association Leyte here in Balcamtuma in Valencia, and to produce face masks because they know how to sew it. So in turn, they have source of income during the community quarantine. And then this one is like sample photos lang because we're still ongoing ang atong negotiation with that, but that's our third wave. So this one is also one of my favorite because during the onset of the COVID, we had this, we call it volunteerism. We organized online fund donation right away with no question by the employee. The first one that we established was so-called Tabang Dumaguete because we noticed that during the COVID, before, remember, there were a lot of mga daily wage earners lost their jobs. So what we did is how to help them, di ba? Mga kanong balot, nagluto dala sa Dumaguete, or sa, we need to attend to them. So we raised about 175,000 pesos right away. And half of it went to 410 families. And then half of it we used also for the PPE suits. And we organized the stylists and also to come up with the PPE suits. The second wave that we had was that this so-called shoulder to shoulder for those who have none. Why? Because in our company, we noticed that a lot of contractors lost their job also, not really lost, but it's more of temporarily suspended. And therefore, they have no income also. So what we did is, again, we ran another online fundraising donation campaign, and then we raised about 85,000. And the good thing about that is that what is an improvement from the first one is that we had a rapid needs assessment. We cannot just give it away. but it has to have basis why we need to give something. So we run an online survey to our contractors, about 5 of them per contractor group, and then the survey came in, and it turned out that they have listed the needs that they have, what were their assistance, and then also what are the skills available that we can tap. So those are the answers, and it was really helpful, and it was very successful also. Okay, so this is during COVID, because the one I discussed a while ago is before COVID. So after COVID, we are also making use of technologies in other various transactions. No? In the case of CSR, we have this optimized digital platform. We need to do mga transactions. So we had this so-called CI, continuous improvement type of program that we can just submit on what are the initiatives that we need to do and have it improved. So this one is the e-signature. E-signature is already acceptable to us in dealing with a lot of transactions. And then Zoom, of course, that virtual meetings, and then also the Google Drive, Google Forms, Google Sites. These are just the file storage. And we have this KISS Flow is another app that we use also for the billing, the procurement. These are all online. And that aid us also to finish our CSR fast. Okay, so as a CSR, we are born to be like, we are created to be as support to the mainstream operations team. So we have a shelter in place there. We have a group of engineers who are on the site, and we need to protect them. As a CSR, we make sure that their path is clear, make sure that they're well supported, so that their operations, their activities unhampered. So the operations team ensures also with that continued delivery of power to the public. So I'm down to my last 3 slides. So this is just to reiterate what I was saying about the GEO 24/7. This is how EDC ensure that electricity is available to the people in this time of crisis, through agility, and then it's leaving it to its tagline. It's 24/7. So geothermal does not depend on any season. It does not depend on time of day. So it's day or night, and it does not depend on weather conditions. So basta magbagyo man or mag-ulan, geothermal is still there. So the good news that we are blessed with this energy. It's not available everywhere, but it's only in the Pacific Ring of Fire. So I'd like to leave you this message from our president and CEO, Richard B. Tantoco, and he said, while renewable energy is often seen as an alternative, EDC believes it is necessary and timely to mainstream clean energy. Renewable energy is not only the environmentally responsible choice, but a wise business decision as well. So please do like us in Facebook pages. So some of you, for those of you who have liked na, salamat. But for those who have not, please access us in the EDC page. We have Binhi page. We have also Instagram, Positive Energy. So I think I'm down to my final slide. And that ends my presentation. Thank you very much. So I'm open to chat question because I cannot hear you guys. And this is really another disruption, but we're willing to accept. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Norreen. All right, so I hope Ma'am Norreen cannot hear me. So I think it's best to type in our questions here in the public chat. So may I encourage the participants, we have your questions now. So we have questions from May. May is asking, is it more sustainable or renewable? So I think what she referred here, sustainable or renewable, is it on the generation of electricity. So I hope you're going to answer Now, and then there are also other questions coming from Klim. So one question is, what are some research collaboration and partnership opportunities that EDC and Cineman faculty and student can do? So I guess, looking at Ma'am Noreen, she's reading the questions. So let's just wait for her to answer since she cannot hear us. She cannot hear me.
Okay. This is challenging. As I find it really funny because I cannot hear you guys, but I see a few questions here. So maybe I will just read and then try to answer them. So si May Ramos is asking, is it more sustainable or renewable? Actually, for the RE, it's really both, actually, renewable and sustainable. Because like the geothermal, for example, as long as you properly manage it well, it can be sustainable. In the case of EDC, like I said a while ago, that the lifespan of our geothermal is only geothermal plant or operation is only 25 years old, but we reach up to 40 years old. And then another site, another area that I want to share is also like in Italy. It's over 100 years and still operating. I hope that answers your question, Ms. May. So I'll go to the next question. It's a thing. What are some research, collaboration, and partnership opportunities that EDC Silliman faculties student can do? Great question. Okay, so I think right now, well, let me just siguro enumerate some of the partners we have already with EDC and Silliman. So the tenement 10, and then we have also the resettlement programs that we had in Valencia. It was with anthropology department. It was very successful. And then we have also like a professorial chair that we have in the engineering. And then I think the recent that we are galvanizing right now is with Miss Janice at TBI, Sinergy, that we will be coming up with a partnership program. But for the students, probably we can tap you on the professorial chair. And also for the tenement 10, you can actually join as a volunteer. And also like we're looking for students who can help us on the GIS or probably M&E or do the monitoring. It's very helpful for us. That one. But anyway, Clint, any how do you call this one? Any volunteerism or any activities you can offer, it's always a welcome. We can sit down with you and discuss. So the next is, okay, so is there any more? Privacy. Okay, so Renzo asked a question about this. There's a private message question about, is geothermal energy much more sustainable than solar or wind, which is more efficient? I think the term is not really on sustainable. It's more of reliability. The term is reliable because in the case of wind, the wind is clean, no question on that. But if there is hangin lang, then you can have it. But in the wind has a seasonal. So if there's a season now with wind, then you can develop you have a electricity. Pag wala, so you cannot. But in terms of in solar, the solar is coming from the sun. So if there is daylight and if there is no rain, then you can have enough power to run the solar. In the case of geothermal, on the other hand, it's different because it's not dependent on any time, season, and day. So I think I would say reliability, and I hope that answers. Efficiency, I think it still depends on how you run the power plant, and then how you manage it. So I think it's okay. Is geothermal energy much more sustainable than solar wind? I think this has been answered already. So keep coming if you have any questions. But can you hear me? I hope you learned something from what I I lecture. It's kind of awkward still. It's like deafening silence on the other side of the fence, but that's fine.
Okay, some more questions from our guests. Do we have other questions here?
I cannot hear the golden voice of Mom Floor. How I wish
Okay.
we... Okay. Jocelyn, I hope that I answered your question. And thank you for raising the question as well. If you have any clarification, just please text. Okay, wait. So, okay, so I see that Renzo is busy typing. Ma'am, may we know the success rate of the BINHI program, like how our monitoring is being done? Okay, this is a great question because we have like BINHI and TENEM and TEN. So for the BINHI, for the BINHI, because we do the third party audit of our survival rate of our plantation, and it's ranging from the number is 69% survival. And then for the tenement 10, we had to do it with partner as well, the M&E, and we are very proud to say that the survival rate, the average survival rate of our tenement 10 is at 85%. So it's really quite good. The good thing about it is really like it's a team effort. It's not just one-sided, but it's a team effort. That's why the survival, the success rate of our BINHI plantation and the tenement ME is high. I hope that answers. Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing to us as our activities of EDC in relation to Mr. Estero's question. What are the possible business opportunities that students can do at this time pandemic that will be supported by EDC? Support is maybe in the form of funding or technology. Okay. Great question. Hard to answer. Okay. So what could be business opportunities for students right now? Um, um, okay, so I think supported by EDC. Maybe, like in the case of CS, maybe I can only speak for my department. So maybe I need to know first the skills of the particular students, because from there I will know because I cannot just give you something that you are not comfortable about and you do not know. So for example, if you know so much about social media, maybe we can come up with, I don't know, a com plan. Or maybe if you know how to sew, maybe we can ask you to come up with face mask or PPEs, because we're looking at a more stretch. We're not really praying for that, but it's more of a maybe the students can be tapped on making something. Or if you're good in GIS, we can help us map. So it really depends, sir, on the particular skill of the students. But if you have those students already, I am willing to sit down with you and discuss how we can actually help each other and support each other. Okay, so I think everybody's busy typing. Is it possible, Mom Floor, that I can get the copy of this one because I wanna get the
Yes.
comments or the questions, and
Yeah.
I wanna
Yeah.
deal with it after and discuss with my team. Okay, thank you. Okay, can we do virtual camp, Mom? In relation to Mom Floor question, might answer the technology side support for the student leaders, but also address the mental health of the students during time. Yeah, medyo daghan. One is that the camp, okay, the camp. And then second is the technology side support for the students. And then the third one is the health of the students. So I think more than the students, all of us are sort of getting crazy with this work from home. But I think in the virtual Binhi camp, that's actually a good idea. We will think of how we can pivot on that one. Um, Virtual, yes, maybe then so we can sit down and discuss on how we can really do that. In terms of technology, so technology side of the students, again, what else? Right now, we will be doing a lot of monitoring for our forest restoration and forest protection. Maybe some of you can join if you are not busy. And then in terms of mental health, what we do in EDC is that there's always a seminar that we invite doctors or experts on how to deal with ourselves. So some work from home, we take care of ourselves in this pandemic times. And then there's also this employee engagement that we do. Uh, are you familiar with webinars? I think some of the are doing webinars also on trainings. No? And then we also have engaged psychiatrists actually to deal with us. Like it's an hour session just to discuss with them. How can we? What? Thank you, Mom. Asking the question in line with the task TBI to develop ideas of the business and what the focus research agenda is energy. Okay, so it's a good question. So it's energy. We have a lot of portfolio about energy, but probably since we are very near the geothermal, so I think we'll tackle with the geothermal. But one thing in mind right now is really like coming up with a battery. How we can store the geothermal because it's abundant, right? It's abundant all over, and then it's and sometimes with yeah, just to mention to all of you that we had this competition with solar companies as well. So the government is actually prioritizing solar over geothermal, which is really sad because we are baseload. But in other words, in our 220 megawatts, we had to really like throttle it because the government prioritizes the solar. So there's a lot of excess steam going on. And then, so maybe as the scientists or experts or engineers in TBI, maybe that's one area that we can really harness and really discuss how we can do that. Is that okay, Ma'am? Does it answer?
Yeah.
Okay. What specific JS data is EDC interested? Oh my God, that's very German to me already. So, Clint, maybe I'll have to refer you to my staff on the GIS. I have a staff who handles the GIS. Maybe if you know that, maybe we can discuss. Thank you, Renzo.
So I think Clint is still typing. Maybe we will allocate 5 minutes
I know
more
I
for the
answered
question and answer.
your questions. Okay. So, sir. Okay, noted, sir. Noted.
All right, so I think there are no more questions. There are no questions anymore. I think there are no questions anymore. So a round of applause. I would say a round of applause for our guest speaker, Ma'am Norreen Bautista. And I do not know if you can hear me, but I hope you can hear, you can see the record. So this is recorded. I thank you very much for your time, for the effort, and for the knowledge that you have imparted to us. At this point, we would like to give the certificate of appreciation. So may I ask Lawrence to please show to us the certificate of appreciation. All right. So we have here a
Oh, thank you.
yeah. Okay, so this is a virtual certificate of recognition. We would like to present the certificate to
Thank you so
Ms.
much.
Noreen Bautista for sharing her expertise as session speaker about the topic ADC technologies and opportunities during the Sinergy TBI 6 e-talk session held on June 22 to 2020, 4 to 5:30 via TBI virtual office on Seoul given this 22nd of June 2020, and this is signed by Assistant Professor Janice Antoniette Forster. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and, of course, for sharing with us, okay, all about EDC, the things that EDC is doing right now. No? So it's a very information. It's a very relevant information for all of us. Okay. And I would like to thank also the participants, okay, the audience here. Thank you for your time, for spending the time with us. And please, the next screen, Laura, please. And we would like to invite you again for the next e-talk sessions that we will be having in a couple of weeks. Until we're going to do with this, we're going to be finished with this pandemic work from home. So we are going to continue having e-talk sessions, which we will be sharing with you, or we will be inviting guests and speakers that are very relevant, especially for us here, for TBI and for those students and individuals, professionals who would like to establish or to create their own business in the future. Thank you very much. And please don't forget to access our social media accounts. Lord, please.
Thank you very much, everyone, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so that's it for this afternoon. And once again, thank you very much for being with us.
Bye.
Bye. And by the way, you can access the recorded file through this BBB for, I think, available. This is available for 7 days. and then the soft copy will be given to our speaker. Okay.
You are currently the only person in this conference.